Hey guys, Justin here of Gigatech, and realme is finally bringing its first ever sub-brand Narzo in the Philippines. This is the Narzo 20. The brand is taking a leap all over again, targeting the Gen Zs who love gaming with powerful processors and huge battery capacities on a low-cost budget. However, we can't help but notice that it has an uncanny resemblance to the realme C15, which the brand also launched recently. With this in mind, does the MediaTek Helio G85 processor in the Narzo 20 make it worth buying? Let's find out! Before we talk about the phone itself, let's first see what's in the box. So opening this up, we have a smaller yellow box containing the SIM ejector tool and manuals. Then below that, we have the phone itself, a charging brick, and a USB Type-C cable. And that's everything. Checking out the design now, the realme Narzo 20's body compromises a polycarbonate rear panel that features a textured finish with its newest V design. We like this kind of texture. It avoids unnecessary fingerprint smudges. You can feel its weight in the hands, but it's not that bothersome. It feels solid and sturdy when gripped, and it rests comfortably against the palm. Also at the back, you can see its square rear camera module and a rear-mounted fingerprint scanner that honestly would have been well suited at a lower position. Anyways, it's a tall device with a sizable screen with a mini drop notch at the center top that contains its front camera. And as usual, it has slim bezels and a pretty thick chin. Located on the left are the dual nano SIM tray and a dedicated micro SD card slot that's expandable up to 256GB. Meanwhile, on the right, you can find the power button and the volume rocker. While at the bottom, you can find the loudspeaker, the USB Type-C port, the primary microphone, and the 3.5mm headphone jack. The unit we have, by the way, is called Blue Blade, but it also comes in a silver sword color if you're interested. Overall, this design is a lot similar to the realme C15 and C12. Well, there's nothing really new except for the V design glare at the back. Moving on to its display, the Narzo 20 gets a 6.5-inch HD Plus LCD display with a mini drop notch at the top. There's no glass protection mentioned, but on the bright side, it has a pre-installed screen protector. The screen is adequately sharp and more than good enough to read texts, watch videos, and play games. Viewing angles are decent too, and color temperatures are the only thing that can be customized on the phone's display settings. But what we like about it is that it can get bright enough as you adjust it. Audio-wise, the sound is enough to fill a small room, however, it comes out slightly distorted and teeny. The lows are also pretty non-existent, so we highly recommend using earphones for a better listening experience. Talk about software, the Narzo 20 runs on Android 10 out of the box with realme UI skinned on top. It comes with an app drawer option and offers both gestures and on-screen buttons for navigations, including an assistive ball. Realme UI features many of its own stock apps, and it has third-party pre-installed apps too, like Agoda, Lazada, Facebook, and Messenger. It also has the latest features such as a dual-mode music share, focus mode, and even personal information protection. Storage-wise, the Narzo 20 comes with 64GB of internal storage, and expanding the storage is more than welcome as the Narzo 20 has its dedicated micro SD card slot up to 256GB. Out of the 64GB of internal storage, you get a usable 50GB. Now for performance, the Narzo 20 is powered by a MediaTek Helio G85 paired with a Mali G52 GPU and 4GB of RAM. We tried playing graphics-heavy games such as Asphalt 9 and Wild Rift on it. While gaming, the Helio G85 paired with realme's gaming mode optimizations offer a reasonably streamlined gaming experience in a low graphics setting. But take note that we did encounter some heating. When it comes to day-to-day tasks like browsing the web and navigating around social media, the Narzo 20 didn't give us too many issues. For some numbers, we'll flash the benchmark scores right now. For biometrics and security, it comes with a rear-mounted fingerprint scanner and face unlock. Well, as expected, both work fast, accurately, and reliable. Moving on, the Narzo 20 has connectivity features such as Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, LTE, and GPS. Battery-wise, I am speechless. A hefty 6000 mAh battery juices up the Narzo 20. It also supports 18 watts fast charging that will take up to 2.5 hours to recharge from 0 to 100% completely. We ran it through the PC Mark's battery test, and the battery life was rated at 16 hours and 12 minutes, which is great. Meanwhile, in our standard video loop test, which entails the phone being at 50% brightness, 50% volume, airplane mode turned on, and with headphones plugged in, the device lasted a longer 30 hours and 15 minutes. Now that's really impressive. Okay, let's talk about the cameras. So the Narzo 20 has a total of 4 cameras. That's a triple camera setup at the back consisting of a 48 megapixel main, along with an 8 megapixel ultra-wide, and a 2 megapixel macro camera. On its tiny notch, you will find an 8 megapixel front shooter. Checking out the rear camera sample shots, it performs well in daylight. Colors are quite well most of the time, but the details are a bit rough, and exposures aren't always reliable. At night, you can see that the sensor understandably struggles. Shots look washed out and the contrast looks poor. However, there is a night mode which makes a considerable difference. But then again, don't expect much from it. For portrait shots, we get some decent subject background separation. Now for selfies, it gives you fair color reproduction and clarity. And I like that when you turn the AI beauty mode on, the skin looks pretty natural when it's at the recommended settings. And as for videos, you can shoot up to 1080p at 60 frames per second. There's not much video stabilization going on, so recordings will end up looking shaky. It's best to use a tripod or a steady surface here. And I'll be honest, the details also seem to be muddy. Alright, so before we wrap this review, let's talk about price. Locally, the Narzo 20 is officially priced at 7,490 pesos. The new Narzo 20 seems to have good capabilities. Comparing it to the realme C15, the Narzo 20 comes with better performance due to its processor. It also has a USB Type-C port and arguably more useful cameras. But you can't deny that it risks drowning in a sea of very similar models from Realme itself. So if you're thinking of which Realme budget phone to get, it's safe to say that you go for this one. And that wraps up this review. How about you guys? What do you think of this Realme Narzo 20? Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to drop a like, subscribe to our channel for more content, hit that bell icon so you don't miss any future uploads, and be sure to visit yugatech.com for the latest tech news and reviews. Once again, this is Justin, and don't forget to wash your hands and stay at home.